Christie's, New York City, one of the world's great auction houses, where the old masters meet the impressionists, and where dealers and collectors come from the world over to fight for possession of some of the great masterpieces put up for sale here every day. But not everyone is here to buy or sell, like 12-year-old Bingham Bryant, who is here just to look. But this painting he has come to see wouldn't be here if not for young Bingham's efforts. The painting is on exhibit here before it will be auctioned in London. But this is not the first time Bingham is seeing it. In fact, he knows this painting as well as any of the Christie's experts do.
So much brighter.
That's because Bingham is the one who discovered it. The Center School in Old Lyme, Connecticut is an unlikely place for finding treasure, and Bingham is the most unlikely of treasure hunters.
The librarian would take us to go down to the library and she'd read us a couple of Greek myths.
High above the librarian's desk hung an old painting that she sometimes used to illustrate a story from Greek mythology.
I asked her if she knew where it came from because I thought it was a really interesting painting. And she really didn't have much of an idea. The painting depicts Persephone, the goddess of spring, being brought down into the underworld by Hades, who's the god of the underworld. And he stole her away because he wanted to marry her. I thought it was a very dramatic painting, very beautiful, a very classical subject.
How would Bingham, who was 10 years old at the time, know if a painting was good or not? His father, Christopher.
I knew that he had a good eye and that he was visually aware of not only of just aesthetic things around him, but historical things as well.
In fact, Bingham had been brought up in a household full of the aesthetic and historical.
I collect British regimental material of the early 19th century in general, but one of my specific areas of interest are these regimental badges. They're works of remarkable beauty and design and quality.
And Bingham Bryant seems to have inherited his father's passion for beautiful things.
Well, I've always been a collector, and so I've always been interested in antiques, especially books.
Bingham has an incredible collection of first edition Oz books.
The books have got great illustrations. They actually put in metallic ink onto the color plates, which is a great effect and looks really beautiful.
Which might explain why Bingham became so transfixed on the painting.
I told my dad about it a couple times, and then one day I told him, you should really come and take a look at it, because it's a really great painting.
I thought, well, if Bingham says there's a painting that I should look at, it's probably worth looking at.
I just thought it was a really beautiful painting that he might be interested in seeing.
But I just had a sense that it was something of very good quality and significance.
The painting itself was signed by a Walter Crane, a British painter of the late 19th century. But this in itself didn't mean anything to Christopher Bryant, who had never heard the name.
I spoke to the librarian of the school, so we found a manuscript school history, and that mentioned the name of the man who loaned it originally in 1935 or thereabouts, as being a Professor Brian Hooker of Yale.
At Yale, Christopher Bryant found Brian Hooker's obituary. And the obituary mentioned the names of 3 daughters, one of whom still lived in Old Lyme. But she had long forgotten the painting her father had donated to the school almost 70 years before. Although Walter Crane is little known in the US, in England it's a completely different story, which is why Christie's jumped at the opportunity to auction the painting.
Certainly Walter Crane was perhaps one of the best known artists and designers of his time, and these were people who were at the forefront of the social life in England at the time. So they were feted by royalty, and all the great collectors would flock to see what they were doing. So they were hugely popular individuals.
Walter Crane was not only a painter, but also a designer of wallpaper and fabrics, and a hugely successful illustrator of children's books.
I know that Bingham is a keen collector of particularly first editions of Wizard of Oz, and this picture is, if anything, truly illustrative. And bearing in mind that Walter Crane also illustrated Grimm's fairy tales, then I think there could well have been that there may have been some appeal over and above an appeal to an adult, to a child in this picture. So that could be one of the reasons that Bingham spotted it as opposed to one of the teachers or the librarian.
With Christie's publicizing the auction, interest in the painting and the boy who discovered it was beginning to intensify.
Now, do you get any of the money that is going to be raised?
I've been told that's confidential information, so...
Back in Old Lyme, with the auction still several weeks away, Bingham continued to live the life of an ordinary 12-year-old. Well, perhaps not so ordinary. Remember his book collection?
Most of these are first editions. Some of them aren't, though. This is a first edition. I just recently sold one of them, but it was worth $750. And I paid $200 for it, but it was only that big. So it was pretty amazing to find.
Back of the room at $980,000.
Almost 2 years after Bingham Bryant first told his father about the painting, the family arrived in London for the auction.
Here's the Walter Crane. Behind me here up to the left, below the combustion board, being pointed out for you now, Fate of Persephone, that Fairfield. Start me off at £300,000 for this one, at 300,000. Any advance at 300,000, at 300,000 pounds. Going on at 300,000. 20 where at 300,000 and 20. At 320, 350 now, at 350,000. 380,000, 380,000. At 380,000. At 380,000, and fair warning at £380,000. Any more at 380. 380,000, 933, thank you.
The Fate of Persephone by Walter Crane brings over $500,000, the highest price ever paid for one of the artist's paintings.
I have, thank you. And you at 950,
And although the money arrangement is confidential, you can be sure part of the proceeds will be going into Bingham's college fund. Both Bingham and the painting are now gone from the little school in Old Lyme. But Bingham has had a taste of the big-time treasure find.
I love walking through an antique store and seeing if I can find anything great. I love The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, which is a satire, and I found a signed copy of that for $1, which was a great find because that's actually worth a lot of money. You can find some great stuff, but nobody really cares to find out what it is, kind of like the painting.